Assignment 1, CAD Graphics, AEDD 105. This is what we're going to draw, and the first thing that you want to do when you start a drawing is first decide if it's imperial or metric, and I can tell this is imperial because this is 2.00. 2.00 millimeters wouldn't make any sense, and that would make more sense if that's 2 inches. Next, we want to determine the layers that you need. I'm going to need an object layer for the object lines, a hidden layer for the hidden lines, center layer for the center lines. We're not going to worry about the dimensions for this time around, so I need an object, center, and hidden line layer. So I'm going to switch to AutoCAD. So in AutoCAD, the first thing to do is to create those layers. So I'm going to create 3 new layers. OBJ, if you use the comma after the layer, you can type in the next layer, hid, and send. The colors for the center is going to be magenta. Use color number 6 specifically. Hidden, we'll use cyan. Use color number 4. An object is going to stay white, or color number 7. For the line types, we want to load center and hidden to line types. So I'm going to click on the center layer, line type, and load center to. Hold down the control key and also find hidden to from the list and select it. So this loads center to and hidden to line types. With the center layer highlighted, click on center to, hit OK, and then highlight the hidden layer line type and load hidden to for the hidden layer line type. Now we need to deal with line weights. Center and hidden lines remain as default, but the object line weight should be changed to 0.5. Last step is to make the object layer the current layer by double clicking on it, and you're ready to begin drawing. So I'm going to start off by drawing this object based on its overall width, the distance between views 2 inches, and then its overall length, and distance between views here and its overall length in this way. So you notice that 2.25 should be the same as 2.25 in this direction, and the height is 2.5 and the width is 4. With 2 inches between views, we're going to lay out the 4 views. So I'm going to use direct distance entry. One of the other instructions that was provided to us is that we start the bottom left hand corner of this view here at a start point of 0.25 comma 0.25. So I'm going to use the line command and put in the absolute coordinate of 0.25 comma 0.25. And that starts our line. If your line goes off the page, use the button in the middle that's a rolling button to press down on it and drag your mouse so that you can see the end of the line. And the way direct distance entry works is I position the line in the direction I want it to go in. So I'm pulling the line to the right and then putting the distance by typing the distance of 4. So see what I'm doing at the command line. That sets the line at exactly 4 units long, and I can change direction to go up, and I know my height is 2.5, 4. Notice each time I'm changing direction, and then I can close that view at that front. And I'm going to begin the next view, but I want to start this next view 2 inches away from the first view. So instead of starting the line and picking at this point, I want to just put my cursor over it and drag towards the right, and then put in the distance of 2 to start the line 2 inches away. The width of the view is 2.25. Height is 2.5. This little width segment is 0.5. If we do some math, take the overall height of 2 and then subtract 0.5, we get 2. And then for here, I'm going to zoom in to show you what I'm doing here. Is I'm going to use O tracking. If I track off of this endpoint and drag straight up like this, I can figure out where that line goes, and then I can close that line. Hitting escape, by the way, to get out of the line command. Next, I'm going to start the line from here by not actually picking it. So I'm going to do that again. L for line, I'm going to hover over that endpoint, but don't actually select it. And track up from there, 2 inches. Go across 4. And then go up the same height that we have here, 2.25. And then we're going across 4, and then I can close that view. Now I just need to put the object lines that I see in the circles and the arcs that are missing from the view. So I'm going to start with the easy things and project this line by tracking off of the end point of that edge and drawing that line in that view. So you see how that edge shows up in this view. So we're looking at that surface straight on. Up here, I know that the thickness of the top of this is 0.5, so I'm just going to use that endpoint right there to track down and put in a distance of 0.5 and put a line across. If you look at dimensions, you'll see that the dimensions show that this circle is 1 inch in diameter and it's 1 inch up from here and it's centered. So I'm going to use the midpoint of this line to track up. So let's make sure midpoint is turned on. It isn't, so I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to type L for line and tracking from the midpoint. Don't pick there, but track from there. I'm going to put in a distance of 1, and then I want a diameter. Sorry, I should have done the circle command, not the line command. So track up from there, distance of 1, and then I want a diameter of 1. In the top view, I have another circle with a diameter of 2, or a radius of 1. So if I pick the midpoint this time and put in a radius of 1, then the correct size circle comes in. Now this, I want to get rid of this half of the circle and then this portion right here of the line. So I'm going to use the trim command, TR. And for trimming edges, since that's the first part of the command, I want to select both the circle and the line, because the circle is going to trim the portion of the line that I want to get rid of, and the line is going to help me trim this portion of the circle that I want to get rid of. So once I'm done selecting my objects for the trimming edges, I hit enter, and now I can pick the sides of the circle I want to get rid of and the portion of the line that I want to get rid of. And you notice that it trims right to the edge of the line and right to the edge of the circle. Next we're going to add fillets. My fillet, if we look at the drawing, should be a radius of 0.5. So if we go into the fillet command, the radius is set to 0. So we're going to change the radius to 0.5. Now I can click the two lines and create the fillet between the two lines. Now because of this arc, we have some missing object lines here and here. So using the line command, I'm going to track down from here and place those two object lines. And now what we have missing are hidden lines and center lines. So I'm going to switch to the center layer, and there's instructions in your handout to set your dim-sen. And notice dim-sen's capitalized, so I'm going to type dim-sen at my command line, and I'm supposed to set it to negative 0.0625. Now that dim-sen is set to negative 0.0625, that controls the size and the shape of my center marks. So I'm going to type in a new command, DCE, which places the center marks on circles and arcs. So I'm going to select the circle below and the arc above, and because I've set it to 0.625, if you look at the distance from here to here, notice that it is 0.0625. So negative 0.0625 makes this into a extended center mark that extends out past the circle. The distance it extends past the circle happens to be the same as the setting that I set the dim-sen value to. So there's a reason we put in that precise number. Now there's nothing wrong with that center mark, everything's fine there, but if here we have to make some edits. First of all, we don't need this part of the center mark, and secondly, we do not want to see this line cross over the object lines like this. So we're going to actually use a circle again as a temporary object that we add to our drawing that we'll use to trim to. So I'm going to, using the circle command, pick the very same center of the circle I started with for the arc, and then I'm going to eyeball or drag that circle out close to the edge of the white circle. So notice that my center circle, the one I'm drawing right now, the one I'm moving back and forth, is not quite right at the end of that circle. It's not touching it like this. I want that to be just inside like this. And what that allows me to do is use that new circle I just drew as a trimming edge. So I'm going to select that as a trimming edge and hit enter to trim the center lines too. And then once I've done that, I can erase that circle. And that way that gap that we have here and here is exactly the same size. Now the next step is that we do need to add the center marks to the other views and the hidden lines. So I'm going to switch to hidden lines now, and tracking from L, use line, from the intersections created by the center lines, I can create hidden lines over here in this view. And those hidden lines represent what that hole would look like if we were to look at that view from the side where that hole is positioned. And then we're going to see the same hidden lines in the top view. Now we do have a hidden line here as well, and the distance to that hidden line is the same as this radius. And if you remember what this radius is, we can list it, Li for list, and we can see that the radius is 1. So that means the depth of this arc is 1 inch back from the front edge of this top view, or the hidden line would be 1 inch from this view to the back. So I'm going to use the line command and track from that endpoint back 1 inch, and then draw that hidden line straight down. Now I'm ready to copy my center marks and finish up these 3 views. So I'm going to copy, CO for copy, or CP actually. I'm going to put a window around my horizontal lines, and I want to use this point here as a base point so that when I click here and start to pull the copied version of the line over to the right side view, notice that my cursor remains centered over the line, and then I can use the midpoint of the hidden line as my displacement point so that I know that it's centered on that view. We're going to do the same thing, but in the vertical direction. I want to copy again, but this time I want to copy the vertical lines in the center mark, picking this point here as a base point instead, which is the intersection between the center mark and the circle. And again, my cursor stays centered with my center line so that I can use the midpoint of the hidden line above, and I can also use the midpoint of the object line below and then track back from there to place my center mark on the front bottom feature. At this point, the drawing is done, and we can check our line weights and see that we have things on the correct layer. And that's what you need to do for the second assignment.